In July of 2012, the multinational pharmaceutical company known as GlaxoSmithKline pleaded guilty to what is now the largest settlement between the Justice Department and a drug company. GSK agreed to disclose the $3 billion settlement full of violations, which included an off-label promotion, failure to disclose safety data, paying kickbacks to physicians, and promoting false statements. The products in question were Avandia, an insulin synthesizer, along with Wellbutrin and Paxil, two antidepressants. GSK marketed the usage of these antidepressants from patients under the age of 18 from 1998 to 2003. However, it is still unestablished to be safe for this age range. In addition to this false marketing, GSK handed out numerous kickbacks to physicians such as all-expense paid spa treatments and hunting trips in return for prescribing these drugs. This was not just an isolated incident. Back in 2010, the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare made clear connections between GSK's influenza vaccine and the recent narcolepsy epidemic. Later in the year, they will be fined yet again for the improper production of drugs from 2001 to 2005. GSK is far from the only drug company that commits these violations behind the scenes. Infamous companies such as Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Novartis have all accounted for violations such as illegal marketing of off-label drugs, bribing employees to increase sales, and marketing drugs for unapproved usage. The continuous public exposure of these violations have demonized the pharmaceutical industry and have since generated this idea of Big Pharma. The idea behind Big Pharma is that these powerful drug manufacturers are knowingly producing inaccurate marketing campaigns and promoting the prescription of dangerous drugs in order to reap the benefits for those that are suffering. With that said, there must be some institutions in place to prevent these manufacturers from getting these harmful drugs into the public, right? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, founded in 1906, is an agency that protects public health by regulating and approving foods, human and veterinary drugs, and medical devices that may be deemed unsafe. However, in the past and present, there are many exploits that manufacturers take in order to manipulate this agency. In August of 1983, the Prescription Drugs User Fee Act was created by Congress and allowed the FDA to collect fees, known as user fees, from companies in order for them to be released publicly. Prior to these user fees, the FDA was an exclusively taxpayer-funded agency. However, now over 65% of the FDA is funded by user fees. These user fees act as funding provided by drug manufacturers whenever they wish to distribute a new medication. In return, the FDA is more willing to disclose their criteria for a passing product, along with prioritizing the product in the approval process. This profit-driven incentive has made it so the speed of drug approvals has increased, but so has the number of drugs that bring about serious health complications following FDA approval. One Yale research study states that nearly 1 in every 3 drugs that are FDA approved will later have a safety issue detected the years following its approval. This user fee system has now installed a regulating agency that is funded by the very bodies that it's regulating. These user fees do not empty the drug companies' pockets. These pharmaceutical companies are receiving US government funding and tax breaks, a constant flow of taxpayer money to cover the cost of marketing and production, and benefit from research and development tax credits. While these companies reap the rewards, they choose to charge immense prices for their medications while the production costs are low. In a paper presented by House Democrats, the price of on-brand drugs has risen 4 times that of the rate of inflation. This is seen no better than in the case of the infamous cost of insulin, which cost an average of $113 per vial, while it cost a mere $3 to produce. The situation is even worse if you have a condition that requires a specialized medication, as a treatment cycle can cost anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000. Companies such as Pfizer then fend off competition that attempts to create low-brand generic knockoffs via patent protection. These variables contribute to a centralized problem: drugs will not work if no one can afford them. The coronavirus pandemic, similarly to the opioid crisis, has created a climate where the pharmaceutical industry is making an immense profit off the suffering of its clientele. COVID-19 vaccine manufacturers like Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna have been reported to prioritize their monopolies in high-income, profitable countries like Canada, the US, and the UK, while poor countries like Kenya and India are left behind. Companies such as Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson were given monetary commitments before vaccine development even begun. Following the development of a vaccine, these companies continue to be supported in efforts to increase the quantity and speed of production, increase equipment, and hire contract manufacturers to take over parts of the production process. But it doesn't end there. Even after the vaccines were produced and distributed, countries continue to commission COVID-19 suppressive drugs such as remdesivir. As of 2022, primary vaccine supplier Pfizer has made a total of $32 billion throughout the pandemic, meaning they are garnering $93.5 million a day. Drug companies have not shied away from profiting off the pandemic, as during the first 7 months of 2021, over-the-counter drug prices jumped up 16%, meaning Americans now pay between 2 to 4 times more than other countries for the same drugs. This big pharma stigmatization has shined a light on some very unsettling facts and details involving what we thought was a trusted source of medication. However, the idea behind big pharma only swells as more and more people begin to conduct their own research and understandings. We've all been told to trust the science. However, science is not the conclusions made, but rather the process of reaching said conclusions, and if you can't ask any questions along the way, then it's no longer science.